Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. I'm not gay. This video is about Ezekiel 31. Pharaoh as a felled cedar of Lebanon. Before we begin, let's zoom in on verse 8. The cedars in the garden of God could not rival it, nor could the junipers equal its boughs, nor could the plane trees compare with its branches. No tree in the garden of God could match its beauty. Again, no tree in the garden of God could match its beauty. Now, it's talking about Assyria at this point, but they're comparing Assyria to Pharaoh. It says, who can be compared with you? One way or another, there's more than one way to interpret this, but it's saying that God made Pharaoh before he rebelled, made Egypt before it rebelled, a very special part of the spiritual realm, and then they rebelled and go to the realm of the dead. Let's get into this. In the 11th year, in the 3rd month, on the 1st day, the word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, say to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and his hordes, who can be compared with you in majesty? Consider Assyria, once a cedar in Lebanon with beautiful branches overshadowing the forest. It towered on high, its top above the thick foliage. The waters nourished it, deep springs made it grow tall. Their streams flowed all around its base and sent their channels to all the trees of the field. So it towered higher than all the trees of the field. Its boughs increased and its branches grew long, spreading because of abundant waters. Okay, so these nourishing waters from God, the peoples, the nations, the multitudes, the languages, well-being, righteousness, justice, they were causing the tree of Assyria and its king to do well, is the argument being made here. At one point in Isaiah, the king of Assyria is spoken well of, and then he falls out of grace. And that's what it's referring to here as well. The cedars in the garden of God could not rival it, nor could the junipers equal its boughs, nor could the plane trees compare with its branches. No tree in the garden of God could match its beauty. I made it beautiful with abundant branches, the envy of all the trees of Eden in the garden of God. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says, because the great cedar towered over the thick foliage, and because it was proud of its height, I gave it into the hands of the ruler of the nations, for him to deal with according to its wickedness. I cast it aside, and the most ruthless of foreign nations cut it down and left it. That would be Babylon, and the essence of it. Its boughs fell on the mountains and in the valleys, and in all the valleys, its branches lay broken in all the ravines of the land. All the nations of the earth came out from under its shade and left it. All the birds settled on the fallen tree, and all the wild animals lived among its branches. Therefore no other trees by the waters are ever to tower proudly on high, lifting their tops above the thick foliage. No other trees so well watered are ever to reach such a height. They are all destined for death, for the earth below, among mortals who go down to the realm of the dead. This is what the sovereign Lord says. On the day it was brought down to the realm of the dead, I covered the deep springs with mourning for it. I held back its streams, and its abundant waters were restrained. Because of it, I clothed Lebanon with gloom, and all the trees of the field withered away. Let's stop here. To some degree, it is referring to Nimrod, where the people of Assyria are referred to as the people of Nimrod. It gets a bit confusing there. But the pinnacle of the Assyrian achievement, if you associate Assyria with Nimrod, like Babylon's associated with Nimrod, it was Nimrod. And so it is with Babylon. But when these people fell out of grace, okay, they did the wrong thing and they took on another deity. Okay, when God sends people to the realm of the dead, it's because they're taking on a false god instead of worshiping the one true God. So they're worshiping a false god, right? They're not taking him on in the sense of doing God's work. They're coming into that spirit, is what I was saying. Okay. I made the nations tremble at the sound of its fall when I brought it down to the realm of the dead to be with those who go down to the pit. And all the trees of Eden, the choicest and best of Lebanon, the well-watered trees were sent something in the earth below. They too, like the great cedar, had gone down to the realm of the dead, to those killed by the sword, along with the armed men who lived in its shade among the nations. Which of the trees of Eden can be compared with you in splendor and majesty? Yet you too will be brought down with the trees of Eden to the earth below. You will lie among the uncircumcised with those killed by the sword. This is Pharaoh and all his hordes, declares the sovereign Lord. So they're kind of saying that these Royal African Falcon martial art related nations who betrayed God and betrayed Nimrod, okay, were given such splendor. Okay, you know, for example, you might think of Egypt as more glorious than Jerusalem in its pinnacle, okay, because of the way it projected righteousness whenever it was a righteous nation. But after it fell out of grace, before, you know, the ancient Egyptian nations collapsed, and it turned into the modern Egypt, which is not so impressive, at least relative to the other nations. Okay, once they collapsed, it became the realm of the dead. Whether or not, you know, they had buildings that looked nice, what have you, right? You know, you can look at Dubai and places like this, right? And Mumbai and Tokyo and Beijing and London and wherever you might think is very beautiful, but they're all in the realm of the dead because they're outside the divine order. No offense to anybody, but this is, you know, it doesn't matter how nice you are, you know, what matters is whether or not you're in the divine order or not.